Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I remember one of the more unusual situations I found myself in. One day I got a call from a man who felt like he was being plagued by a succubus. It's not an everyday occurrence to get a call like that, and while I have no idea how I knew what a succubus was, somehow I did know. A succubus is a demon that presents itself as a voluptuous woman who drains the life force out of a man. In case you're wondering, there's a counterpart that affects women the same way called an incubus. Long story short, we talked for a while, and I hope I helped him as he dealt with his demon. This week, we are looking at some of the miracles of Jesus, and one type of miracle that Jesus did was that he performed exorcisms. That's a little bit odd for us today, and many of us may think that things like that happen only in horror movies. But as the person on the phone with me made clear, it's not just. Sometimes people ask me if I. The answer is that it doesn't matter if I think they are real. What matters? The first miracle Jesus does in exorcism. Jesus James and John to be his disciples are astounded at his teaching and then possessed by a demon. Out, and it did. Believe that this story is included to indicate that Jesus comes 1:2. Very beginning that Jesus not only but spiritual ones. From the end of chapter 4 of each of the four types of miracles. Yesterday, in the story of the stilling of the power over nature, another type of miracle, Mark tells us, to the country of the Gerasenes. The boat, immediately a man spirit met him. He lived with shackles and chains, but the shackles he broke in pieces and to him. Night himself with stones. He ran and bowed down before him. Voice, what have you to do with me? I adjure you by, for he had said, Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion, for we are many." Them out of the country. Now there on the hillside, a great send us into the swine. Let So he gave them permission. The herd, numbering about 2,000, into the sea and were drowned. Hold it in the city and in the country. See what it was that had happened. And saw the demoniac sitting there, the very man who had those who had seen what had happened to the demoniac. Then they began to beg Jesus as he was getting into the by demons begged him that he might be with your friends and tell them how much the Lord mercy he has shown you. Began to proclaim in the Decapolis, and everyone is unfortunate that we miss all the. I believe when a Jewish audience would have out in laughter at the demon, the same name as the Roman, and I believe they would have laughed even harder as the demons went into to send a bunch of demons. But there are some serious things to note. And yet, when Jesus gives them